of Health Research. I want to say clinical research now, but I don't. The commissioning centre. So we commission research for 4 of the research programmes and a number of other structures like biomedical research centres and units. And I head up the patient and public involvement team there. I'm very pleased today to be in a session which is very close to my heart because it's about developing PPI strategies. And we've got 3 groups presenting. The format's fairly straightforward. My job's just to keep people to time. We've got about half an hour per session, but we may end up being a little bit longer than that because we haven't actually started on time. The format is for each of these groups, 20 minutes for them to present to us, and then a 10-minute opportunity to discuss their work. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the first set of colleagues who I hope you're all going to introduce yourselves because you're so numerous. If I read out your introduction, it'd be for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, can everyone hear?
You need to know.
No.
I can force you to do that.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, without not doing.
Wonderful. So now can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Lovely. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Hello, my name's Elliot. I'm one of the presenters today on the challenges of establishing a patient and public involvement in research strategy in a clinically research active hospital. Tagline: lessons from the front line. Now, we're a lay review panel at the Brighton and Sussex Hospital Trust. Out of today's presentation, we're just going to have a quick who's who of the panel, the role that we take within the university, some practical issues that we've had, some reflections that we've had over the last 9 months, challenges and what future we've got to us. Now, why Jaffa? It's very simple. It's nothing to do with an acronym. It's we need to call ourselves something, and we always have Jaffa cakes. Please help yourselves at some point. As I said, we don't do acronyms. We don't really do postage stamps. We really don't do email that well all the time. The way that we work is through weekly drop-in Dragon's Den style sessions without any PowerPoint, and we have our regular meetings within the actual research department, so the researchers can actually access us quite easily.
This is a timeline showing some of the key moments in the history of the NHS over the last 100 years, and the birthdays of all the Jaffa Panel members. As you can see, the Jaffa Panel has a wide range of ages, from Jennifer, who was born in 1931, to myself, Archie, who was born in 1998.
Can I just say, I did not pick that photo of me. But yeah, as you can see, over the lifespan of our panel, we've seen the birth of the NHS, the birth of the first IVF in vitro fertilisation baby, and the creation of the organ donor register. This wide range of experiences allows us to put very different ideas to the meetings.
As you can see, the timeline ends with the Involve conference, which we are attending today.
This is another very important point in NHS research.
Now, the role of the Jaffa Panel is to provide a lay review perspective on research proposals at the earliest opportunity using a critical friend model, to work from the premise that there are never any wrong questions, to help ensure the research questions and topics are relevant to patients, to help review written research materials, and to undertake training.
Thank you. So, just to highlight some of the practicalities of actually setting up the panel, we originally focused on research things within the Trust and PPI panels that were already established that had met for previous research projects. But then we actually formulated one general panel and included members from a young people's group from a Right Here project by the YMCA. Some of the members are here today, and they are now members of this more general panel. We've had to manage sort of panel meetings and the dynamics within those meetings, how to involve everybody, how to give everybody a voice within that meeting, researchers and the lay people alike. We've had to come up with a new payment policy that was new to the research and development department, where this is ongoing work. We've had to establish some ground rules for that panel and get it agreed amongst us all and signed off. How to best work with researchers and get feedback to them in a timely way. And one means of doing that, one of our members has set up a Google Drive account for us where we share documents and resources both with each other and researchers, and that seems to be working really well. It's helped with the development of this presentation anyway. So it's an evolving process and one that seems to be working well at the moment. We've now got some reflections from researchers who've actually consulted the Jaffa Panel.
I'm Carlin, senior lecturer in pediatrics at Private Services Medical School, stroke consultant at Pezaro Hospital, here with us, that's part of Brighton and Sussex University Hospitals Trust.
I'm Paul Sen. I'm a respiratory paediatrician based at the Royal Alexandra Children's Hospital, which is just down the corridor here.
I'm Helga Dittmar. I'm from the University of Sussex.
I'm Matt Easterbrook. I'm from the University of Sussex. I'm a social psychologist.
Was there anything that you changed in your research as a result of input from the Jaffa Panel?
A recent example is a study that I'm working on with colleagues on exploring the added benefits of carers of stroke survivors in a stroke rehabilitation unit, improving on physical outcomes for upper limb training, and sharing the initial draft of proposal, this research proposal with the biennial panel. I had lots of insight from, luckily one of the members in the panel is a stroke survivor herself, so we have very much an expert opinion, if I may say. Advice on the idea of the study in terms of methodology, how we should run the study, outcome measures. We have an intervention which, again, the lay member helped explore some of the issues that if we go to a funder, we were hoping to submit to a research for patient benefit scheme, that we might be questioned about why that particular intervention, with that particular external agency, follow-up mechanisms, as I said, outcome measures. So really in-depth insight and support into various aspects of the research proposal right at the early stage of designing and developing the study, the methodology, the intervention, the outcome measures, follow-up period, and so forth. So I have nothing but positive experience with the lay member research panel at Brighton.
I discussed with the panel a project that we were submitting to do with trying to improve how often young people with asthma take their inhalers. And there were a number of things that the panel commented that made me think and go back and change things. So one of the things was to do with how we feed back information to young people about how often they're remembering to take their treatment. From the input that I got from the panel, it sounded as though it was going to be much better to do that by text messages rather than by a face-to-face or telephone call from a person, because there's less blame implied in it, and also because young people are more used to receiving messages by text. And the second thing that I changed, which I think was just as important, was about how often we feed back that information to young people. So originally we were planning to do it maybe once a month or once every couple of months, and the panel felt that it would be much more effective if we fed back that information more frequently. So once a week is what we've got with.
We are developing research on whether a positive patient identity can help people adjust better to a physical health condition. The discussion has been really invaluable in two ways at least. One, identifying dimensions of identity that we have left out, which are really critical for people. And the second one, just being made aware of how patients might react or feel when they're filling the questionnaire and where to be careful.
So it's just given us a whole different perspective on our research. We've listened to people's criticisms of what we were planning on doing, of the kind of questions we wanted to ask, and we've completely rewritten them as a consequence of the experiences people have been telling us about. So we've definitely improved our research because of it.
Was your research proposal successful or not?
So I have submitted the proposal to the mock panel, which have come back with more comments that I'm working through with my research collaborators, with the aim to submit to either the next cycle, which is in March 2015, or depending whether we get that in place for the next round or defer to the one after. So I haven't gotten outcomes yet whether it be positive or successful or not. So not being submitted yet.
We've heard that it's got past the initial bit, but we won't know until November. There was another project that I discussed with the committee with Carlin, which was a different project to do with using a pulse oximeter to get breathing information in babies. That actually already had been funded by the time I discussed it with the panel, but since then we made some changes and that's now been approved by the ethics committee and we're actually collecting information on it.
Alright, so we also want to share reflections from our panel members as well. Some of us couldn't be here today. One of them is Gary, one of our older gentlemen. He's very appreciative of the benefits which the young people have been able to bring to the panel, as often panels are generally made up of one age group, but predominantly for him it's been the older age. However, with Jennifer, her interest has been really more in the possibility to continue and contribute around age-related comments from her long experience. She's always really concerned about the patient confusion from use of overcomplicated language and worst of all, acronyms. Now, China has multiple sclerosis and has taken part in medical trials and uses the panel really as a fantastic opportunity to help shape and guide the research proposals from her perspective as a patient.
Hello, I'm Archie and I'm 16. I'm actually interested in having a career in medicine. And I feel that by being part of the Jaffa panel will help me to understand and hopefully achieve my goals. I actually remember the first time that I walked into the Jaffa panel meeting, and when I walked into the room it was full of people a lot older than myself. And because of this, at first I felt very nervous. However, as the meeting progressed, I realised that they were saying similar questions to the ones I was thinking, and this actually gave me confidence to ask questions myself. As a young person, I'm able to comment on things from a different perspective to older people, and I'm able to learn from them as well as them learning from me. Personally, I feel honoured to be part of the Jaffa panel at such a young age, and I hope that I'm able to give helpful advice to the researchers coming to us with their projects. Thank you.
Yeah, similarly to Archie, I got involved due to an interest in the medical field. One thing I quite like about the panel is I'm able to give valued input to these researchers running their projects, and I like to think it makes a small difference to their work. I also like to challenge myself to think of alternative ways in which they may run their trials, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity, as I understand it's not often given to people as young as me.
Here are a few of my reflections. Having the opportunity to have our ideas and reactions considered, having training to help us to dissect proposals and research findings, to think about any gaps in information being provided, hoping that our health experiences might be useful to others, which makes me very grateful to be a tiny cog in all these endeavours, and also part of a panel with such interesting other people and our super Jaffa-friendly coordinator, Duncan.
I like that bit, that's me. Yes, we have faced some challenges, not least, when should we meet, times of the day, and also the week when, you know, obviously panel members could make, but also researchers could come along to these drop-in sessions, and how regularly. So we have decided on just getting them in the diary, having them every week, whether or not we know researchers are coming to us or not. So those times when we haven't got any projects to review, we need to use the time constructively. So we've initiated some research training, critical appraisal, basic research methods training as well. And other challenges around transport, you know, for the young people, but also accessible transport that can be paid for, timely and organised as well through our useful admin staff. So some ideas about the future of the Jaffa Panel. Well, we certainly want to recruit more members. We've got some interest from other people who've yet to attend, but we want some members from across the diverse community in the South East. And to hopefully develop offshoots of the panel developed around the research themes of the Trust. We'd like to continue to impact on all of the R&D Trust research procedures, including the sponsorship committee, but also the current clinical trials unit application process, and have a PPI element within that as well. To undertake further training and support, and hopefully maybe the leadership or co-leadership would come from the group itself. And maybe a future aspiration would be that we actually identify a piece of research ourselves, maybe, and get that funded.
Now we have a faux slam poem, which is why I've got a hat on. We don't just do stamps. Patient and public involvement, aka also known as PPI. What are we for? We are for looking at proposals. We are for asking what's not there. We are for how much time will it really take? And we are for will it hurt? We are for what harm might it do? We are for will we hear back about it? Will you tell us the changes you've made? We'd like to know if our feedback was helpful. Do tell us so we can improve. We are for tell us the story, patient information sheet, in plain English if you please. But we can help with that too. Please give us the electronic option. Please give us the lovely iPads. Give us quick Twitter and Google Drive. Please don't just give us postage stamps. Please give us consultants who listen and want to engage with us right from the start. Amen.
So thanks for listening. That's the end of our presentation. Just a few acknowledgements, particularly for the interview, the video recording and the editing to our maestro, Teddy, who is at the back, and to the researchers in the clips and the panel members who couldn't be here today. And if you want to contact us, there's our email address. Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, yeah, you're allowed to hand out Jaffa Panel. That's a good idea. Are there, I'm sure there are questions. Who has a question? If you've got a question, could you please tell us who you are, and can you speak as loudly as humanly possibly, and then hopefully I won't need to repeat the question. But so it might help if you stand and face the majority of people. There are loads of people. So can I start with you, Sarah, there?
My name's Stephen Townsend. I work at North Thames Clark. I just wondered how you promoted or sold the panel to researchers and clinicians. How did you sort of market yourselves so that people would come along?
We've been really lucky. I also work for the Research Design Service. I have a colleague who sits in the Research and Development Department in this trust. He often has his first initial consultations with researchers at the very early design stage, just down the corridor from where we meet. And getting these panel meetings regularly in the diary has been really crucial. And David, my colleague, will literally walk them, have a meeting with them on a Thursday at the same time, same day that we meet, and walk them down to our panel meetings. We've often had 3 or 4 attend. Sometimes we don't have any, so we do other things. But that has been really key. And so other people who sort of banner waving for us, but then raising awareness that we exist and bringing them along, that's really helped.
Hi, hello. My name is Sabrina Altringham. I'm a PPI coordinator for one of the directorates at Sheffield Teaching Hospitals called Professional Service Directorate. And we have staff that try and support patients through physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, dietetics, chaplaincy. So we're very much into the rehabilitation. That was really interesting. We've just set up a patient panel this year, and it was really interesting to see two of your researchers have come to our panel, Helga and Matt, to discuss the same project. And I'm just interested, particularly having set up a panel, what you think are the factors important for the sustainability of your panel now that you've got it set up. Thank you.
I just think if you want to get, for example, for me and Aidan and Elliot and Teddy as well, we're young, we don't actually have cars, we live in the city, so if we need to actually get to, I think one of the main things for us is actually getting to having a location which is easily accessible to us. So it's a hospital for where we do ours, and it's got a bus, there's lots of regular buses there, which means that we're able to get there, and I have to come from I come straight from college to the panel, and as there is a direct bus, it's quite easy for me to get there, and it's easily accessible, which means I can come along to the meetings regularly.
And I think the regularity of the meetings again, and having something to look forward to, and whilst this has been a really good exercise, preparing for the presentation, when I announced yesterday when we were doing our run-through that we've got a couple of researchers coming next Thursday, there was a cheer because next Thursday suddenly we're not preparing for the presentation. Something new to do. So something to look forward to, some challenges, and maybe knowing that some people are coming where possible.
And Jaffa cakes.
And Jaffa cakes. And Jaffa cakes.
Yes.
Are you answering?
Yes.
So Shana's part of our panel, sorry.
Hi, yes, I'm on the panel. For me, the main thing has been transport, and to start with, trying to get money back, I rely on benefits, so it was a huge issue for me, having to try and reclaim money and getting that back quickly and being out of pocket. We've sorted that out because now the hospital, the panel, actually organised transport for me on account. So the taxi turns up, it takes me back, I haven't got to spend my own money and get refunded. That's been absolutely crucial for me to be able to be involved.
Thank you. Going to take a couple more questions. Sorry. Your hospital...
sorry, can I ask you to say who you are? And
Sorry. Stella Hewish-Shires from Lyme Disease Action, a patient charity. Your hospital conducts a lot of research. In your review of research proposals, do you ever ask whether the topic of research being proposed has been identified by a patient group as a known uncertainty that needs research? i.e. has a patient group identified it, or is it just something the researcher happens to want to do?
I think the answer is sometimes, and sometimes they've already consulted with a specific, I'd say, group of people with the lived experience of the condition. Sometimes they come to us and they think they've already got the idea. Sometimes they come and they haven't consulted with anybody else. We have one project where the panel thought this isn't a priority and go away and think about it again, and we're waiting to hear. So it's a mix. It's a mix, really.
Have you heard of UK duets?
I haven't.
The UK database of uncertainties in the appendix.
Yes, I have. Sorry.
Sorry, we don't do acronyms.
One last question. I'm not taking it from anyone who's in length of the microphone now, because I'm obviously cheating otherwise.
Lydia Harris, I work at Sheffield Teaching Hospitals. We set up a lot of panels, and what I'm so inspired by is you've got young people, and I try so hard to get young people on our panels. But you're just too busy. You've got social life, you've got college, you've got university. I just can't find the time, I'm just wondering if you've got any advice. And the thing I've written is that you both clearly want to take medicine as a career, and that's jogged my thought of how I could possibly promote this. But do you have any advice because I'm afraid my panels are all very much the retired generation because they're free and have time to come.
Can I just, sorry, can I say that? I'll go. Just because the way me and Elliot got involved, and because I know I'm older than Archie and Aidan.
You're ancient.
I'm 21, but me and Elliot both volunteered actually for a youth charity that was involved in mental health, which is called Right Here, which is actually, I believe, actually in Sheffield.
Okay.
So it actually might be worth contacting the Right Here project, because we volunteered. Elliot volunteered for the Young People's Mental Health group, and I volunteered for Young Mental Health Champions. So we were actively involved in wanting to be involved in our opinions being heard in the medical field. So we were already people that wanted to be involved. So it was just basically getting in touch with those groups. And like Duncan emailed and we responded. There were loads of people who kind of wanted to be involved, but clearly we were the best people. Maybe because we were doing musical back then.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I do think that if you go out and contact groups who already have a young person presence, you will get people from there. For me, within Right Here, the Mental Health Foundation, all that stuff that I was doing was a huge use of my time. I'm now 26. By the time it was all about 16 to 25-year-olds, so then I suddenly had a load of free time, and I got an email from Duncan, and so I was like, yes, I will see if I can fit that in. And yes, we are busy, and I can't make it to every single meeting, but as long as you understand that you can't make it to every single meeting, and do your very level best to make it accessible to us, that's going to be it. Also, it's 4 o'clock. If we work 9 to 5, it's not going to work. So, there you go.
Well, it's a bit like Field of Dreams. If you build it, if you let them know, they will come.
I'll get you some names.
And this, I mean, we have about 3 or 4 other active members recruited from the Right Here project, and then about 9 who put the names forward who haven't come forward yet, but we keep sort of nudging them. So that has been really crucial for the young people's element, definitely. And they were all trained in research methods through the Right Here project. So in our region, it came to an end in December, and they're really chomping at the bit to be involved in research.
That's brilliant, thank you.
Reluctantly, I have to say thank you. We're going to stop now to move on to the next presentation, but thank you very much. I'd just like to thank you again by clapping and saying